and welcome to Filmfolket's podcast. We that speaks today is Göran,
Johannes.
Daniel,
and Björn.
Today's movie is National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. The movie in brief.
Quite brief, but it's Christmas time, and the Griswold family is making preparations for that magical day, much to their own misfortune and that of their neighbors. As the relatives and start pouring into the house, things go increasingly awry, and well, you just have to watch to find out.
Yeah, that's a good summary. And can really say that this movie is nuts. Even with the start of the movie, when they're gonna get the tree, and I think it's just how fun it is to see how they have shot everything, especially when they got stuck under like a sort of truck in that exact position. There is a lot of fine moments in this movie, but I think also that he's gonna be having a very large bill to pay back to his neighbors.
Yeah, you have this recurring issue about lack of money, and meanwhile he kind of trashes the neighbor's house in terrible ways. And I think that around New Year's he might actually have some lawsuits on his hands.
Being his neighbor must be quite hazardous for both health and your property, so yeah. Maybe avoid being home at Christmas time around this family.
I mean, I think it's common occurrence in. I mean, I've just seen the first one, this one, and then the last one. It's a recurring thing that he always damages something or getting himself in trouble that should be ending in a lawsuit, but for some reason he doesn't.
Speaking of recurring things, there's this scene in the start of the movie where they lose control of the car and it goes flying through the air and breaks through a road sign. I think that's in the first one too, and I wonder if that's also something they keep doing.
Yeah, and also we have this thing coming back in this movie as well, especially in the first one. He was meeting like a woman in like a Ferrari from time to time, and this time it's the lady that he met at like the store when he was gonna buy the present for his wife. And I think it was a reoccurring at least twice in the movie, especially with the swimming pool.
Yeah, you have this scene with a swimming pool. I think that's something that really stands out because unlike the first movie, the whole joke about Clark's adulterous fantasies are much less pronounced. So it's kind of awkwardly inserted. But other than that, I mean, it's as a movie, there's a lot more physical comedy and, well, basically slapstick genre. People falling downstairs and that sort of a thing. It's a different kind of comedy than the first one, for sure.
And there was like another thing I was thinking about, but I haven't looked it up. But I was wondering if there have like changed some of the actors, especially when it comes to the kids. But his friends stated it in the movie that the older kids couldn't come, so that at least says that there are other characters. But I mean, for some reason I think that Rusty, look a little bit different than he did in the first movie. So I was wondering if it was a different character for him in this one.
I quickly googled it, and it seems like there are different people playing the characters in this movie.
Okay. I can take 2-3 shots of that when I in editing, so I will do that. So you will see it here.
The movie has some great comedic timing, and I think that is down to it being adapted from John Hughes' semi-biographical comedic stories from National Lampoon magazine. Like it's built up in a way that really sets up comedic beats and some pretty weird incidents. So I think that's basically built upon that they have a pre-existing material to work with. The neighbor Margot, this woman who's put through a lot of things, that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who you might have seen in Seinfeld as Elaine.
I mean, there's a lot of scenes in this movie that is really classic, especially when they're gonna try to fix the roof with all the lights, and it doesn't work the first time, and they had to do it like check it a couple of times, and also the neighbors closest to them, when they get like blinded like 1 or 2 or 3 times, and yeah, there's many scenes like that in this movie, so it's really enjoyable to watch. I was just wondering what could have been done better and other thoughts.
I was wondering if the movie had been cut, because that scene where Clark rides down a snowy hill on I don't know what kind of a thing that is, but I'm struggling to find a word. Anyway, oiled up with this company's special oil, he takes off in an almost supersonic speed. I think the later part of that scene had been cut, because I distinctly remember him walking around with that pan he was riding on having been ground up in basically the bottom had been ground against the road.
Oh yeah, that's correct, because later on you see him pick up something that had that pen that you just mentioned was on the roadside destroyed, but we didn't really see between it being whole to being destroyed. So I think there's some clips missing in this movie, in this edition at least.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was wondering about that too.
Yeah, I was really confused what that was supposed to be. I thought it was a bit of the RV or something, but no, it must be this kind of sledding pan.
Might be misremembering how the scene went, but it's just a thought that stands out to me.
I think you're correct. I think they cut some scenes.
Yeah.
Furthermore, that poor cat never hurt anybody. What was the point of that? He was brought in just to be vaporized.
Very needlessly too, because it didn't even bite anyone. It was actually the most
Calm creature in that house.
Especially considering these movies, the dogs usually have a bad rap, but the cat did not do anything wrong.
Yeah, it was not a catastrophe.
Hilarious.
Like I said before, there's a lot of funny scenes. Another scene is when he get stuck in the attic, and he basically he's stuck there for a while, and he, for some reason, he found some old film rolls for an old like projector of some sort, and he was watching some clips from his childhood. So I mean, I think it was enjoyable. Especially it was even funny when his wife got back to like put up the presents that she bought for the family, and he was like falling down on her, I guessing. Like you said, it's a lot of slapstick and funny moments.
I also like the scene when they show the wall socket with all the extensions. There's like 50 cords connected to one wall socket.
Well, that's a fire hazard and a half. I
Yep.
think I was surprised, considering how much light it was on the house, that no breakers really tripped unless something short-circuited. So maybe an electrician could shine some light of how badly that actually is in reality, and how, considering how that, what's it called? The thing counting up how much electricity is counted.
Electric meter or something.
Exactly. Well, pretty much. You could see it in real time, just ticking. Something that would take like days and weeks took like seconds. Just the scene where they had to turn on the surge power with the atomic power.
I think it's really funny.
That switch they used to turn these lights on and off, I don't think they are created for that kind of draw. So I think if you turn that switch once, and there will be some fire and some nasty side effects.
And also, when it comes to this kind of movie, when you look on tech that they're using at the time, and you see when they are at the shop that it's an old cashier, and we also see this kind of check that I don't think we're using much more anymore, at least. I think most things are done electronic, either by phone or like with today's tech. So I think it's fun to see which decades a movie is from by just looking at tech, what kind of clothes they're using.
And the cars usually makes it pretty easy to see. Yeah, it's this from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Yeah. You can see if they are new or if they are rusted through. And this time they are pretty new.
I like the RV. It looks like it comes from Mad Max or something.
It looks pretty depressing, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, the whole explanation, yeah. We traded this temporarily for the house, and when we're getting back, we're getting the house back. No, we sold the house. This is actually our home now.
Not
Good
just
luck.
the house, it was acres of land
Yeah.
as well. So
Their whole property, pretty much. So, not been working for 7 years and waiting for that manager position. I think they will have to wait a bit longer for that kind of work. I wonder if they explained how Clark got this cousin of his, Edwin. No, I wonder how they got away with not parking there and actually getting on their way, so they don't have to. I don't think the family and Clark in particular want them to stay for much longer than just the holidays, so to speak.
I think I'm out of notes.
yeah, I got nothing else.
Pretty much done.
Okay, so next week it's gonna be the last week for the sort of like holiday break. So I wish you all goodbye for this time. Don't forget to watch, like, and subscribe. And follow our social. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Farewell.